Hello, AD. I'm Joe Gordon-Levitt, born and raised here in LA. Welcome to Caltech. So Caltech is short for the California Institute of Technology. I love technology dearly. I mean, technology is what allows us to make movies, do the things that I've earned my living with my whole life. Everyone thinks LA is represented by Hollywood, but LA is the second biggest city in the country, and it's one of the greatest cities in the world. And here at Caltech, this is one of the greatest scientific institutions in the world. The word science, as far as I understand it, it's like an old Greek word for knowledge. It's just what do we know to be true? How do we know that? Can we test it? Can we make sure it's actually true? Or are we just talking nonsense? And I'm not a scientist, but I'm deeply grateful for what the scientific method has given us, which is responsible for so much of the positive changes we've seen in the human race over the last number of centuries. But we have to face it that in addition to all the good that new technology has brought to us, it's really brought some bad as well. Everyone's talking about AI, right? The question is, what's that impact gonna be? Is it gonna be positive? Is it gonna be negative? Well, probably it'll be both, of course. We collectively have it in us to use technology to help people, to make lives better. Let's have that future. And we're having a sort of a backwards moment right now where science is having trouble getting a foothold in this attention maximized landscape of public discourse. But I hold on to faith that science will endure. And Caltech, right here in LA, is one of the really preeminent hubs of science and technology throughout the world. People do research here and take classes here and teach and learn and read and study and come up with important ideas that define the world. If you listed all the things that have been thought of and invented here, it's really quite impressive. Americans would not have gone to the moon if it hadn't been for the work done here and at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, which was spun out of this institution here.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
They ended up founding an institution called the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. The Jet Propulsion Laboratory became essentially a part of NASA. And many of the uncrewed spacecraft that have been developed by the US over the years, from Voyager to the Mars rovers, have been designed and built at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory before they're sent into space. Caltech is also part of the broader Los Angeles world, and that does include close relationships with the film industry and with Hollywood. Kip Thorne, who is a theoretical astrophysicist who's an emeritus professor here at Caltech, was deeply involved in the development of the Christopher Nolan film Interstellar, and the scientific ideas portrayed in that film are the ideas of Kip Thorne. That is theoretical astrophysics on the screen, and wouldn't have happened without the relationships that developed between science and the creative arts.
One of the greatest scientific communicators of our time, Carl Sagan, talks about a balance between reason and wonder. Because early in any scientific process, they have to have an idea first. They have to think, well, maybe the world works like this. There's something similar between that and a storyteller. You have to use your imagination. So I feel like there really is a big overlap between art and science. Institutions like this one are being torn apart right now, defunded, undermined, disrespected. So many things that science gives to us. I can't believe that it's being so thoroughly disrespected in my country today. And so it's important to celebrate the institutions like Caltech that uphold it and have for a long time.
Caltech was founded in 1891 as Troop University. The core of the campus was built in the 1920s and 1930s and was led by the architect Bertram Goodhue, who in 1915 had done the architecture at the World's Fair in Balboa Park in San Diego. And those buildings follow Goodhue's philosophy and Goodhue's architectural style of Spanish colonial revival, which was meant to borrow features of the Spanish California missions. Those features in particular include arcades that connect buildings to each other and that provide these shaded, arched outdoor spaces. One of the visions of the leaders of the institution at the time was that that shade would encourage people to move between buildings more, making it easier for scientists to visit each other's labs and work together.
I mean, first of all, it's a beautiful and impressive environment to be in. So it shows a certain amount of kind of respect and reverence for the people here, whether they're young students that are going to become the scientists that move our society forward, or they're the more seasoned professors and researchers that are figuring it out today. I love seeing people doing that kind of work. It's affirming of the best of what humanity has to offer.
So Lind Laboratory was built in 1932 as the Astrophysical Laboratory. The astronomer George Ellery Hale, who was chairman of Caltech's Board of Trustees, was leading the development of the largest telescope in the world. It was actually the third time in his life that he led the development of the largest telescope in the world because he kept beating his own records. Lind Laboratory features a telescope and an observatory dome, and the telescope is continually tracking the sun. It also typifies the way that Caltech does research because it was about building particular kinds of instruments and then being able to use those instruments to look at nature in new ways. In the 1960s, Caltech expanded, and Beckman Auditorium was one of the starting points of that expansion. And it deviated dramatically from the Spanish colonial revival style and introduced a sense of architectural novelty to the campus.
So the Los Angeles fires, there was one to the very west of the city in the Palisades, and then there was one to the very east, which is quite close to here. It really did incredible damage. My heart certainly goes out to not just the folks in the Palisades, but all the people on the east side who suffered so greatly from these LA fires.
The hills and mountains behind me are where the Altadena fire occurred. We have a number of members of the Caltech community, faculty and staff in particular, who lost homes. There was a really strong sense of community support. There was a program to provide temporary housing, all sorts of different elements of helping people with that unexpected and tragic transitional period in their lives.
What makes Caltech essential to LA's future and not just its past? The future has got to be rooted in science. I think it can keep going, but it won't happen by itself. If we let the business people overtake science and technology and develop science and technology purely for profit motives, I'm going to see a further concentration of power in the hands of people who don't care about humanity at large, but just care about money and power for themselves. So we have to keep our faith and love and respect for institutions like this and the people who work here, who can, I think, guide us towards something higher than just profits.